Hey, what's up everybody? How you all doing? So I'm doing pretty good. Just been hanging out in the cave and listening to some records, and I've been thinking about this for the last couple of days on the way to work. If you've clicked on the title, you probably already know what this video is about, which is Death Doom. And on the way to work, it's just been that perfect setting with the overcast and the cooler temperatures and the leaves starting to change. Autumn is here, and today is no different. It's one of those misty, cold, overcast days, just perfect for Death Doom. And I decided, go ahead and shoot my favorites. I know I've shown a lot of these albums a lot of times, but this is a kind of compilation into one video. Also, I noticed whenever I decide to shoot a video, a lot of times I'll go on the VC and check out if anybody else has done it, and I've noticed there's not that many out there. It did bring up Doomtober by Brain Smasher, his series, which is excellent. He does Out in the Woods. I think he's got a new series he's been working on. Not series, but a new like part 2, I guess, or I don't know how many parts he's got. Quite a bit, I'll just say that. And then there is some hit and miss videos where maybe somebody shows their favorites as well. There's not, just to cut to the chase, there's not many out there. So I decided to put one together. And Death Doom is my favorite, I'd have to say. And what got me into Death Doom is I'll show you the exact song here in a second. But basically that's what this video is about. So I'm gonna move on and start getting into it and quit fucking blabbering. What got me into the slower doom metal side is actually one track, and it's actually just the bridge of that track. I wanted to hear an entire song just played that way, and it's on this record right here, Black Sabbath's Master of Reality. And the track I'm talking about is Children of the Grave. So when that bridge hits and that slowed down, so heavy, and that haunting synth work or organ they have in there, I wanted a song just like that all the way through. And I remember I was a kid when I first heard this. I was probably about 13 or 14. I heard that, and I listened to that part of the song over and over again, just wishing I could find something that sounded exactly like that all the way through. So this is what kicked it off, my doom metal love right there. And then a friend of mine, probably in late 80s, maybe mid 80s, somewhere around there. I mean, this is a doom metal classic, Epicus Doomicus Metallicus by Candlemass. So it's a staple of doom metal. It was the actually first doom metal album I ever heard. Everything about it, the riffs, the heavy, the freaking double bass in some of the parts, just in perfect moments. The vocals, this is bewitching, I'd say. I mean, even though that song's not on this one, but my gosh, Demon's Gate, Crystal Ball, so good. Under the Oak is actually my favorite track on this. So that's my introduction to doom metal, is those 2 albums. And then there's several more, but those are just straight up doom metal albums. So I'm here to talk about Death Doom, and like I said, I've talked about these albums before. It's nothing that you haven't seen me show before. But to get on with it, let's go. In 1990, a Death Doom classic was released, and the band's out of New York, and they released Into Darkness by Winter. So long ago. I'd say the first time I ever heard this album maybe was 93 or 94, somewhere around there. So it was 4 years after this album was released. Somebody had a cassette, and we listened to it. We was smoking a little weed back then, and listened to it, and it was just that slow, heavy, and then there's a riff on there on that first track after it gets through the intro of the track, and the way he sings vocals and that down tune picking, heavy. Oppression, Freedom is the name of the track. Fucking awesome. This, you know, this one takes a little time to get used to because it is very slow, but that's the essence of Death Doom. The vocals kind of sound like some giant monster, and the body of him is the music itself, and it just in some abyss pounding his chest. Definitely look this one up if you do not know it. I will post links below. This one's actually a reissue, and I don't know who reissued it. I got this in a trade. The dude that traded didn't really care for it that much, and as soon as I seen it, I was like, he goes, you want that album? I was like, fuck yes. So I got myself a copy of it, and like I said, I've shown this before, but I fucking love this album. Definitely look this one up. This is a Doom, Death Doom, Stone Cold classic, and maybe I'll name this after that thread. My favorite thread of all time in the VC is 13 Stone Cold Black Metal Classics. So I'm gonna probably name this 13 Stone Cold Doom Metal Classics, even though there's a couple of here that are pretty new. But Winter, look this up. This is just a masterpiece. Next one up, of course, is the very first Death Doom album I ever heard is by Decomposed, Hope Finally Died, released in 1993, which I've shown several times. The band's from London, England, and this album is just absolutely fantastic Death Doom. The production on it is very crisp and clean. The vocals are some of my favorite death vocals of all time. There's some acoustic pieces in this thing. Just absolutely freaking phenomenal album. Taste the Dying is probably my favorite track on this one, but it's another one of what Death Doom embodies, is that just slow, pounding, dark, a fantastic one. Definitely look Death Doom up. Decomposed up. Absolutely fantastic album. Love this one. Love it so much. So not every one of these, some people may argue that may not be Death Doom. This next one I'm going to show you, I've showed before in a black metal, favorite black metal listing, but I've always considered this more of a blackened Death Doom, and it has some speedier parts, but this is Lucifers Hammer, A Mist of Time, and released in 1997. Band's out of Michigan, and they're part of that scene with Masochist and Summa. And this album is just another one I play with my Death Doom. Whenever I listen to Death Doom, this one is usually one of them I pull out. And it's more of a blackened death metal, but favorite tracks on this would be Woodland Realm. Fucking love that. Ethereal Sea of Forever. Even the song titles sound Death Doomy. Enter the Eternal Fire is probably the greatest track on here, but if there's a track I'd suggest listening to on this album, would definitely be Woodland Realm, which is the album cover. I've shown this several times. Absolutely in love with this fucking album, and I had to include it in the Death Doom classics, even though it's black and Death Doom. I guess. It's slow. It's got, it's everything. The guitar riffs. There's some female vocals in this, kind of narrative. But the vocalist has the perfect combination of death vocals and a little bit of blackened. Lucifers Hammer, freaking perfection. Oh, by the way, in the background, I didn't even say it. This is Satan's Host. Black metal. Satan's Host has a couple albums that are power metal too. Sorry, that coffee went down the wrong pipe, but I believe this band is from Colorado. But let's keep on moving. This is a stone cold classic, and Imprecation, and I think it's spelled Theurgia, Goetia, Summa, which is some Texas blackened death doom. That's the best way to describe it. This is a perfect death metal album. This is that recent reissue, which I've shown recently. I was so stoked to finally get a copy of this masterpiece. And this is a compilation, if you don't know it. But it has some stuff from 92 demos, the 93 7-inch, and then the 94, 95 EP, which is this title, and a little bit about this. I mean, it's just absolutely haunting. I probably showed you the vinyl on that winter. It's just white, but this one's just on black. So the first time I heard this was about 95, and it absolutely blew me away. My favorite tracks on this is the Awakening of Majestic Darkness. I love that fucking track. Emperor of the Infernal Spirits, and the title is actually an Invocation, the title of this album. But look at that artwork, and there's some haunting keyboards, this dirgy blackened death doom. Best way to describe this album. Absolutely fantastic one. And whenever I listen to this, I feel like I'm in these woods. I don't so much have that scene in my mind whenever I hear this album. It's just mainly those woods. A dark, damp wood with a full moon and maybe fog on the ground, maybe in a field nearby the woods. Perfect bonfire music. If you're out drinking some wine out in the yard and play this masterpiece. It's not long enough. This is one of those albums you wish had more tracks on it. I mean this has 9 tracks on it, but you wish it was a little bit longer. Imprecation. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that again. I'll fuck it up. Another one's a more recent album. Death doom band, and that's this one, Worm for Everglade. And I love Gloom Lord, the album before this one. Gloom Lord is fantastic, but this one here recently is the one I've been going to the most out of their discog, and I believe it was released in 2021. I was so stoked when I heard that Worm was releasing a new one, and this band's from Florida, I believe. What can I say about this album? A lot of people raved about this album, so if you don't know this one, definitely look it up or look for the link in the description below. But this has a little bit of some blackened, it's blackened death doom is what this is. It's got a little bit of blackened vocals in it. It's got some perfect death vocals. The drumming in this is so slow and dirgy. I love the intro. The intro is creepy and haunting. It takes you to the Everglades in Florida, maybe a dark night, and you're listening to this and fearing you'll see the dog man or something. Mark Above the Dark Moor is one of my favorites. Centuries of Ooze. I love that. Empire of the Necromancers. Absolutely fantastic album. Hopefully you guys know. Worms for Everglades. Absolute masterpiece. Absolute freaking banger. And this one I've showed. I made a video and then they got copyrighted and blocked. And then so I had to reshoot the video and it pissed me off. And I haven't shown this album since the redo, but not a lot of people probably watched it. But Ceremonium, Into Autumn Shade. So this is another one I heard in the early days, and I never had a copy till recently. I showed this in a collection update not too long ago, but this band's out of New York, New York. Same place Winter's from, so there must have been a nice death doom scene. And I believe the guitarist also played in Incantation, which is another death doom band I probably should have included in this list. I didn't think about it when I was throwing this together. I just picked 13 of my favorites. But there you have it. This one, so I first heard this, my buddies and I would get together back in the old days, and it was autumn. We were sitting out in the backyard. It was a barbecue, just kind of hanging out, smoking some weed, drinking some beer, and we all brought a CD, and my buddy brought this, and we listened to it, and from the first note to the last note, I was in a trance listening to it. I probably didn't speak 2 words, just listened to this full thing, sipping on my beer. Everybody was talking, I remember, in the background, but I absolutely just fell in love with this Ceremonium album. And it's another autumn album. I've talked about it before. This is, I believe, a reissue, but my wife found for me, because I've been talking about this album for years. And I don't know, there's so many good tracks on this. I'm trying to read the one, Our Morning Forever. Oh shit. Shrouded, I think. Into the Autumn Shade, of course, the title track is fucking awesome. Probably butchering this video, but this is another one. It's a must in any Death Doom collection. It's probably, for me, if I would have put this as a ranking, this would be up there at number 1 or 2. And I probably should have mentioned that these would not be in any particular order. Just how I grabbed them off the shelf, pretty much. Fucking classic. 1995 is when that was released. Another band that everybody knows. Everybody. Cyanide, The Dying Truth. Cyanide's from Chicago, and I've talked about this album a couple of times. I'm trying to see what year this was released. I want to say 1992, somewhere around there. I heard this pretty early when I started listening to death metal, and that was 1993. So my buddy Richie had a copy of this, and he played it for me, and it blew me away. Everything about this album blows me away. I really love how the drums were recorded on this album. The guitar sound. It sounds like a death metal version of like Hellhammer, I guess, in a way, to me personally. But that kick drum on this, when it's playing, and those guitars, that freaking haunting death vocal, makes this a freaking utter masterpiece. Love the artwork in the back. I'd say my favorite tracks on this is Human Cesspool is definitely one of them. Scourging at the Pillar, or Scouring at the Pillar, Scourging. Crawling Chaos, The Dying Truth, Funeral, Second Life. Just an utter banger. This one's just on black, I believe, if I remember right. So I prefer black vinyl, even though I have a lot of colored vinyl. Sometimes I have no choice in the matter, but if I have a choice, you're gonna see me pick black. And I said that before. I don't mind the colored vinyl as much, but black is black. Easier to clean. But anyway, Cyanide, the Dying Truth, just perfection. This next album I got recently in a VCLT from Pieace, and this is a death doom album from Germany, and just progressive death metal, and it's got a shit ton of death doom in it as well. And it kind of reminds me, like, if you take the vocalist from Sabbath, the English Sabbath, and then put like a progressive death doom behind it. It's just fantastic. This is a fantastic album. It's called Dark Millennium. Ashore, what's it called? Damn it. Ashore the Celestial Burden. Pieace sent this to me, and I was just freaking blown away when I seen it in there, because I've been wanting a copy of this freaking beast forever. And this has some of that medieval acoustic guitar in it. Look at that artwork. Fantastic artwork. But it's just one of those albums. It starts out fast, and then the track will start out like fast and progressive, and then it'll slow down into that nice death doom dirge. I'd say my favorite tracks on this, let me see if I can see it. Inside the Sunburnt Thoughts of Frost. I love that fucking track. Below the Holy Fatherlands. I love that one too. Wizardry. Assemblage is another one. Medina's Spell. There's even a track called The Atmosphere, and this album has a lot of atmosphere in it, so definitely another one you want in your collection. Dark Millennium. Ashore the Celestial Burden. Absolutely, hands down, masterpiece. Another one I've shown quite a bit on this channel is a band from the Netherlands. This was released in 1994. This is Mystic Charm, Shadows of the Unknown, and it's got a female vocalist, which has she has a very nice black metalish vocal, and she also plays the keyboards on this, which adds another atmosphere to Death Doom, which makes it perfect. That creepy, and they don't overdo it. They put it in nice parts, and she might have a little bit of a solo on her keyboards. The guitars are very, what do you want to call it? Almost black metalish. It has a very trebly sound to it, which is perfect for this. The bass work is very good. The drums are very awesome. It's another classic in my book. I've shown this several times, and it's one I've listened to over and over again. I believe this one's just on black as well. Yeah, it's on black. It's a double LP set, and I believe it has a newer EP on it. I forgot who reissued this. Nuclear War Now Productions. And by the way, that I just remembered that Imprecation was Nuclear War Now as well. My favorite tracks would be the title track. The opening track sets the tone of this album, The Shadows of the Unknown. And it's just slow, dirgy, almost to the point of funeral doom. Deadly Embrace is another good one. Beyond Darkness. The original album had seven or I don't know how many, maybe 7 tracks on it if I remember right. I used to have this on CD a long time ago. I love this artwork as well. This music brings you to this cold and desolate place. Fantastic. Can't say enough about this album. Beast. Mystic Charm, 1994 from the Netherlands. Shadows of the Unknown. Fantastic. Another one I've shown before, maybe once, I think. This is Transgressor, Ether the Scapegoat. Band's out of Japan. This was released in 1992. And it's a death metal album. It's a death doom album, and it's just one of those definitely albums I reach for a lot, especially when I'm in a mood for a slower death metal album. And the artwork is absolutely fantastic. In fact, I know I've shown this a couple times now, because I remember talking about how many times this artwork has been used on death metal albums in particular. It's also been on a black metal band, Summa. Can't remember the name of the album. I have it over there, but they use this artwork as well. But anyway, what I like about this, it has some keyboards at the right spot to make it atmospheric, just slow, heavy, and they could pick up the pace a little bit here and there as well. Disembodied Suffocation is probably my favorite. Disembodied is actually probably the intro. I can't remember exactly how it goes. Morbid Curses, Forsaken Souls, Human Butchery. Also, another thing I like about this album, I like bands when they may play a little bit out of tune sometimes, and one of the guitars in this, especially Venom, they did a lot. Their guitar would be out of tune, but it carried on. I love that. Just a little bit out of tune sound. It just sounds like the guys are in their garage playing this, and maybe they stumbled and hit one of their keys and knocked it out of tune. I don't know. That's way off the subject, but this is an absolute fantastic death doom album right here. Transgressor, Ether for Scapegoat. I knew I'd say the. And like I said before, you could find a link if you do not know any of these albums. Next one up is another recent happiness, Delirium, and this is Zoo, I believe, and this was released in 1990. And I just showed this recently in a collection update, and I was so stoked that they reissued this. I've been wanting a copy of this thing for fucking ever. To describe this album a little bit, it kind of reminds me of Celtic Frost with like maybe Martin Van Drunen doing the vocals on it. And what I love the most about this album is how the intro track sets the tone of the full album. Just absolute freaking fantastic. I can't read the song titles at all. I was going to tell you my favorite track on this son of a bitch. What was it? The intro track is called The Ninth Dimension, but it's The Warrior. That's the name of it. Real fucking simple. There's also track 3 is called Bitch, and that's really fucking good too. But Netherlands, two Death Doom classics, Mystic Charm and Delirium, just absolutely hands down fantastic albums that you definitely need in your collection if you don't have it. And this is, of course, a recent reissue, and I cannot see who did it. I hate when they have font that you can't read. But I picked this up on Hell's Headbangers. Maybe they still have copies. And then I got 2 more, and I'm going to show you a demo. And it's finished, and I've talked about this album many, many times, but in my opinion, this is Death Doom perfection. Perfect demo quality Death Doom. And in fact, I've said this several times about Ripiculu. This is most of Ceremonium. That this is probably the heaviest album I've ever heard in my life. I don't think there's an album out there that's as heavy as this. They're tuned in A back in, I think this was released in 93, somewhere around there. But of course, everybody knows my love for finished death metal, especially this album. There's so many good finished death metal albums, but my God, this is not really an album. This demo is so fucking heavy. I cannot pronounce any of the song titles because it's spoken in their native tongue. Ripiculu is a must-have. Must. This is on Svart Records. Of course, I got it on black. I'm gonna listen to this album directly after this video because everything about it. And I remember my buddy had a copy of this, and it wasn't colored, it was in black and white. So these reissues, they put it in color. I don't know, maybe when they self-produced it, they Xeroxed it and sent it out in black and white. That's why whenever you look this album up, you'll see it's in black and white. But absolutely check this demo out. It's probably one of the greatest Death Doom demos ever recorded. Is this absolutely beast of an album. And then last album is a more recent album released in 2022. The band's from Orlando, Florida, and I need to get this on wax bad. That's of course Druid Lord, and this is probably one of my favorite albums to listen to, especially on drives to work, because I drive down country roads to get to work, and so I'm surrounded by woodlands and pasture every once in a while, and this album is just perfect with it. Relics of the Dead by Druid Lord, if I did say Druid Lord. This is a Hell's Headbangers release, and I absolutely need this on wax, and I think I will probably order it as soon as I can. The artwork is fantastic. I just love this artwork. Many people have talked about this album, but I think this is a modern day classic Death Doom album. I love the vocals on it. You can understand every word he says. You don't even need the lyric sheet at all. They have nice haunting, kind of spooky Halloweenish, keyboardish stuff that really pumps this album up nice and slow. The title track, of course, is awesome. 13 Days of Death, fucking love that one. I could actually read these. Nightside Conjuring, I love that one. Immolated into Ashes, Ethereal Decay. I noticed a lot of death metal albums or Death Doom albums will have the word ethereal in it, which I almost forgot because I couldn't really add it to this. It's a Cathedral album, the Ethereal Mirror. It's not really Death Doom. It's more of a stoner doom, I guess. That album, hands down, one of my favorite doom metal albums. But back to this one. This one, when I first heard it, it blew me away. And I didn't listen to it till I actually got a copy in my hand, because everybody was showing this album when it first came out. I just happened to be on Hell's Headbangers, and I decided to throw it in the cart and check it out and see what the fuss was about. And then I realized the fuss was exactly what the fuss was about. This is absolutely perfect album. Perfect Death Doom album. Anyway, so there's my video. Hopefully you enjoyed it and stayed till the end. Just thought I'd shoot a video like this. I've been wanting to do it for a while. So I'm going to title it 13 Death Doom Classics in tribute to my favorite thread of all time. Like I said in the beginning of the video. Y'all have a freaking fantastic day. I'll have another video up soon. I have so many ideas. I'm kind of rehashing albums I've shown before, but I don't think that matters. Y'all have a good one. Later.